this video, I want to show you how you can use variables in Power BI. And I want to show you that it's really not as difficult as it maybe seems when you get started with Power BI. So what are variables? You can use variables in Power BI to write cleaner and easier to understand DAX. And why is that important? If you just got started with Power BI, your DAX is maybe not that complex yet. But if you work with Power BI a lot and you get a little bit more experience, you will see at a given point of time, you maybe want to write some DAX that is a little bit more complex, but it also, and I think that's like one of the biggest advantages because I work a lot with other people in, for example, the same Power BI file. It makes your code more readable. And I think that's really, really important, especially when you work with others, but also for yourself, because the things you're doing at the moment, they make sense now. If you open that Power BI file in like 6 months, you will be happy about writing readable stuff that is easy to interpret. When I first got started with variables and wanted to learn more about them, I saw a lot of examples like this. And I thought, that's intimidating. There's a lot going on. Why are there so many variables? What do they mean? And is this really supposed to make things easier? And because of that, I will show you a really, really simple example, because I think that's also when you get started with Power BI, something that can be very valuable for you, because you can try this yourself. You can easily implement this yourself in your existing DAX and see for yourself if it's easier and if you understand what is going on, instead of giving you like a measure with like 10 variables in it. So to show you how this works, let's go into Power BI. This is one of my demo reports, and you see I have, for example, the quantity last year, and the growth. And you see I have the growth here 2 times. One time it's just DAX, just like I would write it when I just would write it down, and one time with a variable. So what is this actually doing? Total units sold this year minus last year, the same period, and then divided by last year. And this gives me a percentage. So you can probably already see this looks like a lot, but this part is the same as this part. So actually we are repeating this calculate statement 2 times. And while this is a quite simple DAX measure, it already looks a little bit intimidating. Like if I would open this and I would have never seen this report before, I would have to look at this for like some time to understand what's going on. And now I will show you the same measure, the units sold year-on-year growth, but then with variable for this part here. So that's actually the one here. And you see it's not less, we have more rows, but what you see is we have a variable at the beginning. And what I do to define a variable is I say this far, and then I give it a name, like previous unit sales. And then we have the is sign. So you say I want to use a variable, you give it a name, and this is the sign, now we're going to do stuff. It's kind of like how you would write your DAX normally, where you give it a name and then the is sign. So we have that part here. And then I just put in here my calculate statement for the say units sold last year. So we defined it here, and we could define more variables here. We could just like enter and write another variable. But for now, we only want to use this one. And now if you wonder, how can I now use this? You can't just do enter and write what you want to see. You use a return statement. So when you're using variables, you also use a return statement, and everything that you write after the return statement, that's actually the measure that is going to happen, and it will refer to the variable. So in this case, we have our divide statement, and I have my total units sold, and now I can refer to the variable by using the name of that variable. So I have total units sold minus previous unit sales divided by previous unit sales. So you see, this is so much easier to read than what we had before. And like I said, the measures, they look the same. If you put it in a visual, you will not see if a variable was used or not. But next to that, these variables can improve performance, especially if you have really complex DAX. This is also a game changer for working together with others, because you want your DAX to be easy to read, easy to interpret, also for your coworkers, but also for yourself if you look at this in a few months. Have you used variables? Do you have questions about them? Let me know in the comments.